Hi team, Malcolm here. Hope you are doing so awesome. Part of the definition of faith is knowing that we've won before we even started. Before we even leave home. We've seen it so vibrantly. We've touched it, we've smelt it, we've tasted it, we've felt the emotions of the victory. We're holding the winner's cup. We haven't even left the house yet. But it's so real to us in our imagination. Imagination is a powerful tool if we learn how to use it right. You can be in the most dire circumstances. Everything could be against you. Everybody might be expecting you to lose. But if we're seeing nothing but victory, concentrated victory, no wavering, no doubt, no fear, victory, then we're going to surprise a lot of people when we win, aren't we? How many times have we seen people in a hospital bed? They've been given 90 days to live. And in their mind, they're imaging perfect health. A common one with cancer, by the way, is they image little Pac-Man eating up all the bad cancer cells. They lie in bed month after month, imaging that the cancer cells are being eaten up. And as if by a stroke of magic, they get better. Viktor Frankl wrote a book, Man's Search for Meaning. He was an Auschwitz survivor, and he talks about, in that book, they can take away everything, but they can't take away this. You get to decide what goes on there. And he spent that time in that concentration camp, essentially seeing victory. Pretty powerful, eh? When you start a new project, a new career, a new business, starting maybe learning a musical instrument, learning a foreign language, whatever it might be, we've got to see ourselves as winning before we even start. If we say, I could never do that, that's negative faith. We've already seen ourselves as one who can't make it. For a sports event, you could be physically trained all day long. You could be in perfect physical shape, but if your mind says no, then it's going to be a no. In history, after the assassination of Julius Caesar, Cassius and Brutus, they ran away, which probably a good idea. They just assassinated Julius Caesar, well, led the charge at least. But their time came because Mark Antony and Octavian came after them and met them at what's known as the Battle of Philippi. On one side you got Cassius and Brutus, two people that led the charge on Julius Caesar's assassination, and on the other side you got Mark Antony and Octavian. Cassius and Brutus sat in a tent the night before the battle, and they discussed what they might do should things start looking a bit bleak. And they both decided to and agreed to self-termination. They would rather commit suicide than let Rome kill them. On the other side, Mark Antony and Octavian, they were fine, perfect confidence. They knew they were going to win. Let's get this over. We can have a cup of tea by 2 o'clock. Let's get it done. You want to know what happened on the battlefield the next day? You already know what happened on the battlefield the next day. What they visioned in their mind, what they saw, what they were talking about became a self-fulfilling prophecy. A couple of weeks apart, Cassius and Brutus self-terminated. They each committed suicide because they talked about it. That's what they saw. Mark Antony and Octavian, all they saw is victory. What are you starting today? To make it work, the one thing we've got to do is clear out all doubt and all bad imagery. You know, we spend 6 till 7 o'clock each night watching the news, talking about all the bad things that might be happening. And so we feed ourselves on all of the bad things, don't we? And we create negative faith from that. Here's a thought. What if everything was going right? What if everything was working out in your favor? Can you imagine that? Can you see that? Can you visualize that? Spend time every day visualizing, picturing, imaging your dream with the perfect circumstances at the end. Whatever it is, you've won. That's part of the definition of faith. And in time, if we do that, you will win.